Welcome back to Senior Savvy Cannabis. I'm Katherine Goldberg. Today, we're joined by Chase Werner of Triangle Seeds. Chase has very generously reached out to Senior Savvy and offered his help in teaching me how to grow. This is a big endeavor. I have never done this before. So I brought Chase in. Thank you so much for not only sharing your expertise, but just for being so kind with the whole process.
Absolutely.
So just to set the foundation, what are we doing today?
So today we're going to start with setting up your grow tent. We're growing indoors, and so the most important thing is to make sure our environment is right. And the grow tent basically serves as like a mini greenhouse for you to cultivate inside. And so we're going to set that up, check out your equipment, and just make sure that we can control the environment so that the plant's the happiest it can be.
Okay, so we do, and also I'm using a Spider Farmer grow tent. I'll show you guys the whole process, but I was reassured that it's like the for dummies version of growing, so even I can set it up. So Chase will give me directions and we'll go from there. This is good. So even before we decide what we're growing, we're going to think about the environment of the tent and really get that right. You know what it kind of reminds me of is when it's going to make me sound really nerdy, but like when you build like a trading bot, like on Call Sheet or something, like you have to test it in a demo environment before you actually execute with real money. So
Great. I think that's a great analogy.
There's
I don't know much about testing bots.
Okay, great. Well,
trading, but
I feel like I should author my Call Sheet referral code, but not now. So, gambling run risk. Okay, so we're gonna unpack all the gear from Spider Farmer. So they included not only the tent, they included a clip-on fan, they included lights, they included a giant carbon filter, and they said that's everything I need to actually grow smokable weed. As I've said, I've grown an outdoor autoflower that was attacked by a leaf blower, and it was a rewarding experience. But oh, you know what? Before we end this part and go into like actually how to build this tent, the reason I like Chase so much, well, we're the same age. I like him for so many reasons. But you said that you loved weed, and then you went to college to study
business and horticulture.
Okay, and then you went in just because you love weed, and then your professor said something to you that kind of shifted your perspective, and it really I liked what you said. Can you just?
Yeah, sure. So I got into hydroponics before college, and then basically I was already in love with cannabis. I was thinking about growing it in the future. But then in my horticulture classes, I had a professor who basically turned me from a cannabis plant person to just a plant person. And helped me kind of fall in love with all types of plants and cultivation of all types of plants. And so I got into hydroponic vegetable production and more than just cannabis.
I love it. I love it.
But cannabis is special. It's my favorite. Mango trees and cannabis plants are probably my two favorite growing things.
Well,
I just love mangoes.
Mangoes are so good. Well, we're in the right place for it.
Yep.
And also, we haven't decided either if I'm growing in soil. We can have this conversation after.
Sure, because regardless of whether you're growing in soil or hydroponics, you need to control your temperature and your humidity.
Okay.
And so that's what we're going to focus on first, whether we're growing an autoflower or a photoperiodic plant. Indoors, you've got to be able to have the right environment for the plant.
Okay, and Spider Farmer also has an app.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Okay, that lets you actually monitor everything from your phone, which is pretty cool. So we'll get the physical stuff set up first.
Yep.
And we'll get that up running. Okay, I'm excited.
Me too.
Thanks, Chase.
Yeah. All right, so first thing is let's go ahead and put the tent together. That is where we want to start. Because we already figured out this corner's good for you because you have two outlets.
Right.
So
do we want to explain how you tested the circuits?
Sure.
Or at least just have a disclaimer about why one might want to test their circuits?
Yeah. No, totally. Yeah, we can say why we chose the spot.
Okay.
Yeah. So why'd you choose it? Because
I knew I wanted it here.
Okay.
I didn't want to have to deal with buying another end table.
Okay.
And I figured if I could hang out and be near my plants,
Sure.
that would just be exciting.
Yep.
And it just, since it's such a small tent, it just seemed like this corner was the best possible option.
Cool.
In my 1 bedroom.
Okay, nice. And then so, yeah, you told me that information, and what I look at is the electrical power in that area. And so we have one outlet here. There's another outlet behind the couch. So the first thing we did was we tested to see if they're on the same breaker, which is like a household breaker box. Most people just flip them on and off when they go out. But we established that both of these outlets are on a 15 amp breaker, which is a very standard size residential breaker, and that'll be enough to power the 2x2. If you were doing like a 4x4, it's better to have access to a 20 amp breaker, which is common in like bathrooms or garages. But you always, basically, we can maybe put a link to it, but there's math you can do. You can take all your equipment and you can do some computations to figure out how many amps you need. But in general, a 15 amp is great for what you're doing.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well,
So-
let's get started.
Cool.
And then you'll just tell me what you want me to do along the way.
Yeah, sure. So let's see, we'll go ahead and roll this out. This is the main canvas on the tent.
Is there?
And there should be some bars in there.
Yeah, there are bars.
Yep.
Okay, and it's the user manual for the SF1000.
There you go.
All right.
This is the floor for the tent.
Okay.
Helps hold water if you spill a little bit of water.
Okay.
It's supposed to keep everything dry.
Do you want me to undo the poles?
Yeah, let's get the poles out. We're basically gonna build the poles first. That's like the skeleton.
Okay. Like when you go, like it's like a camping tent.
It's similar. Yep, similar system.
Okay. I'm gonna use a box cutter.
Okay.
Okay. Should I separate these into
They're probably different lengths, so keep them together for a minute.
Okay.
Let's just figure out which poles are the verticals and which ones are the horizontals.
Okay, cool.
So we'll take a look in the manual. Look for the English. Okay, cool. So the H and the G poles are the verticals.
Okay. Great.
It looks like 23 by 23. Oh, we need to find out which tent this is. This has like multiple. What size, what model is the tent? Do you remember the model? Like, it's just showing me different sizes, so I'm trying to see.
Let me look it up.
Okay, cool. I thought it was a 25 size. 24 by, I think it's 24 by 24 by 55, but double check.
Okay.
In the box. 79 by 25. Let's see, we got F. So, I mean, process of elimination, these are your verticals.
Okay.
So I kind of know what I need to know. I mean, see what it says, but
Okay. Okay, it's the SF100 complete grow tent. So let me click on this.
okay.
Okay, it's a 2x2 complete grow tent.
Okay. Cool.
Okay.
Doesn't say a height, but I think we know the height's going to be the height of these two poles. Yep. That's cool. We have enough information to proceed.
Oh, hold on. Our food is here.
Oh, wonderful.
Hello?
Hello, good afternoon.
Oh, yes, can you let... Yes, please. Thank you so much. Thank you. You're welcome. Okay, cool.
They're coming up?
They're coming up.
Okay.
Okay, so let's work for, 2 minutes and then we'll
Sure.
take a break to eat.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Do you want
pass me those.
Yeah.
Yep. Those are going to make the bottom and the top.
Okay, okay.
The squares at the bottom and the top. Yep.
I'm not like a visual person.
Okay.
Like IKEA is out of my range. So that's why I'm like extra thankful that you're here.
Yes. This is IKEA for cannabis cultivation. So these should be universal.
Oh, nice.
Pop them in.
Okay.
And then screw them down
To tighten it?
to tighten it.
Okay.
Don't go too tight with plastic. You never go as tight as you can because you'll probably snap something.
Okay, good.
Just get it like we call it hand tight.
Okay.
So if you want,
Yeah, do you want me to build one of those?
You build one. Wait, let me give you the right one. It's the shorty. That one. Because the F, let's keep them separate. The G and the F's are our verticals. So you're going to make a square with those.
Okay.
So I'll give you 4 of the connectors.
I remember as a child, I had to do a lot of like testing because I was like a special child.
See.
Not in the right direction. And like so many of the tests were like these like kind of like visual things. Like, it did not go well. So.
I actually also was tested when I was a kid, and I had poor spatial.
Oh, really?
Poor spatial stuff, but maybe I've just kind of
Compensated?
fought through it. Yeah.
I feel like with the motivation, also like if you had told me in high school that I could apply like chemistry to weed, I would have tried a lot harder. So.
Yeah, if you're not, I mean,
The motivation
if I'm not
is-
interested in something,
it's not
hard
happening.
to learn about
Yeah.
it. Nice. It's a great size.
Okay, this is very easy.
Yes,
I
I must say I haven't.
This is very
my
manageable.
First experience
Okay.
with Spider Farmer, and these the connectors, the 3-way connectors are nice. They seem to be built pretty well, and I like how you can screw it in.
Thank
to
you.
Tighten it.
Okay.
I can pause. You want me to get it?
Yeah, sure.
Cool. Oh,
Okay. Should we say? Oh no, we should not say where our food is from because
where we what?
let's not say where our food is
Where
from.
our food's from? Do you want to eat on? You want to eat on camera, or do you want to stop? and-
We'll stop, but let
Okay.
me finish this one real fast
Yeah, sure.
because
You're close.
now I'm confident that I know what I'm doing a
Yep.
little bit. Okay. Did I? No,
So
I
just
didn't.
look at your piece.
Okay, hold on. This goes because it's a square.
Yes.
Okay, not like in this direction. Okay, is that right? Okay, cool. And then that means this goes like this?
Yep.
Okay. I feel like if you're like a parent or something, you could definitely like do this with your kid.
Totally.
Okay, that's kind of the vibe I'm getting
Nothing
now.
brings the family together like building the grow tent.
Right? And then you can throw in some, strawberries or something.
Yeah.
Are there,
For sure. Yeah, you can grow anything in these tents. I mean,
that's interesting.
they're basically they're a way to do
Okay.
indoor growing in a really contained, controlled,
That's so
controlled
interesting.
way. Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna take a break to eat, but we have, this is the bottom.
We have our bottom,
Okay, we have the bottom.
built by
And then
Catherine.
that's
The top.
the top.
Yep.
Okay, so this is not a big deal.
No, nothing.
Amazing. Okay, let's go eat and then we'll start fresh.
Cool.
Okay.
Sweet. Amazing. Okay, we have our bottom and our top.
Amazing.
So we're gonna actually, they're identical, so they're interchangeable. We're gonna call this one bottom because I've already started putting the vertical here.
Okay.
So this is pretty standard. There should be.
Do you want me to put those in and then?
Yeah. Why don't? Let's see. You want to put them in?
Yeah, sure. Okay.
So just make sure you put the hole needs to be up.
Oh, okay. The hole needs to be, okay. See, this is also why I'm so thankful you're here, because I've built like chairs before, but I didn't notice where the hole was and stuff.
Mhm.
And then if it's on the wrong side, the chair
You have
doesn't
to
work.
redo it for sure. Alright, and so then
Is that?
It's muted.
Yeah.
Airplane.
Cool. Okay.
Okay, one more, two more. Just pop that whole thing off. Tighten.
Okay.
Last one. I'll get the next ones open.
So this is going to be a really dumb question, but when we talk about controlling the humidity and stuff inside the tent, we don't like have a bucket of water in there.
No, but what we can use is a dehumidifier
Oh.
and a humidifier.
Okay.
So those are the two tools you use to control humidity.
I see. Okay.
And so I'm not sure what we have in our kit.
Okay. We might need something.
We might need
Okay.
a humidifier and a dehumidifier.
Okay. That makes a lot more sense.
Yep. So.
Yeah. Whenever people talk about like the science of this, it's like there's so much precision.
You're kind of working within like windows.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Is that in right?
You should do it quick. So with these are just like a classic pull. You just push that in.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see. Oh, it's over. Yeah. Okay.
You do that one?
That's easy.
But yeah, so there's a range. You kind of have an upper and a lower limit that you want to stay within, and you'll bounce kind of within that limit as the grow happens.
Do some strains need a certain humidity while others thrive in a different kind of? Not that we're going to complicate our first grow.
Yeah, first grow you don't need to worry. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't need to worry about different ranges depending on what you're growing within reason.
Okay.
We're going to keep it kind of in a general
Perfect.
happy climate for cannabis.
Amazing.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, so now.
This is taller than I thought.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a call from my mom.
This is a short one, honestly. So tents can be up to 8 or 9 feet tall. So go ahead and just make sure first before you tighten it, make sure it's seated.
Oh, okay.
Which just means push all the way down and kind of feel it stop on you. You can give it a little tighten.
Okay. Cool.
Nice. And there should be those crossbars right there. Get those open. That's the hanging stuff from on top.
Oh, okay. That's the light.
Lights, carbon filter, anything you want to hang.
Okay.
Maybe sit on.
Oh, that's so much easier.
Yep, and so notice this is important. Notice one of them has a taller hook.
What? Yeah. Why?
Because it goes lower. So you drop this one in first.
Okay.
And then you put this one on top.
Okay.
And they stay flush.
So cool.
Yep. There you go. This is
amazing.
the skeleton, we'll call it. So the next step is to unzip the tent.
Okay.
Find our zippers here. And you want to unzip it all the way.
Okay.
This is the floor.
Okay. Okay.
Quite a farm. Right?
Where's that? What corner?
So this is the main door, and so you want access to it, so you can have it ultimately on this side,
Okay.
so you can get to it. This is a little awkward, but we can deal. Let's pull it out from the wall a little bit.
Okay.
And then lift that corner up with you, and just try to take this. This is going to be your back. What I'm looking at here is the back.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So try to pull this towards the corner.
Okay, over here.
Yep. Yeah, you just don't want to rush this because if we move quick, we can rip it.
Yeah.
So that's like, just take your time, take a look at it. You can kind of see corners. Especially don't force the corners. So
Okay.
just kind of want to move slowly. Nice. And then the bottom. Get that far.
It's fine. I'll keep it short.
There you go. All right, you got it?
Yep.
One more. And so at the bottom, should be able to pull the floor down underneath. And the last corner is always the toughest because it's all caught, you know what I mean? So you just have to be careful. Alright, we're seated in that corner. And then one corner. And then I can go ahead and zip it up from the bottom.
Okay. Wow.
How long did that take? Not too long.
Not too long at all.
Yeah, so
Wow, spider farm makes it easy.
that's right.
Can I get inside?
Yeah, you can check it out. I think you can fit in it.
I know, right? I can fit in it. Can I?
You can.
I can hotbox it, but I wouldn't.
You can.
But I could.
You can. Yep.
Okay.
This is your floor.
Okay.
I'm going to put this in there right now.
Okay.
Go to the side.
Wow.
It's great. So yeah, it's compact. You know, it's going to be great for the single plant grow. This is a great size. Now let's see what else you got. So
We have lights.
we have a light here. Yep, a light.
Okay.
This is going to be power cord and ratchet hangers.
Okay.
Power cord. You want to unwrap it? So this is like called a phone cable. It's an old school phone
Yeah.
cable, but that's what the controllers work off of.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, that's how they send signals to the equipment. So I've got a phone cord there for controller. And we've got some ratchet straps. These are a standard, nice thing to have in the grow.
Are they easy?
They're easy.
Okay.
Yes. So basically, you take this part, strap it on the top,
Okay. Oh, okay.
and then you take whatever equipment you're hanging
Yeah.
and connect it down here. Just get this straightened out. And then you can just push this down and,
Oh, wow.
yep. And then if you want to pull something up, you just something like that, yeah. So we'll go ahead and get these in here. If you want to film anything on my phone, you can too.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
It's all. Can you show you something?
Okay.
It's all. It's
Oh, okay. Thanks. Okay. Let me get my other handheld thing so I can.
okay.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. I'll kind of turn it so you can see a little better in there too. Perfect.
Okay. Chase is setting up the spider farmer tent.
Just put in the ratchet straps, ratchet hangers. See me? Make sure they're looking good. We've got an LED light from Spider Farmer, SF1000. Looks like a great size.
It's not going to be too hot, is it?
No, so that's the nice thing about LEDs is they put out a lot less heat than HPS or metal halide light.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah. There still will be heat, but it's manageable.
Okay. And what is like the fire risk on a small grow tent like this?
So as long as you keep your extension cords kind of like away from water, all this equipment has some kind of IP rating, like IP64 or IP56. So this has IP67. So it's built for grow environments.
Oh, okay.
So you still need to when you're setting up the tent, follow kind of common sense, no outlets getting necessarily wet, but the equipment should all be rated for a wet environment.
Got it.
Yeah. So when done correctly, the fire risk is negligible. I think it's probably the right word to use.
Good.
Let's see, so let's see what's going on here. There should be some brackets. I think that's what these are.
Okay.
Brackets for the light. You have an instruction
Yeah.
book for the lights. Let's see. Yes, the G series. Every light is a little different. Every company's equipment, it's a little different. I think it's like this. You clip in here.
Oh, okay.
And then here too.
And that's to hold it up safely?
This is what you have to hold the light. Just kind of clips in that side hole there. And then this is the ballast, or the heat sink. This gets clipped in. Come out to the top here. Let's see what this is. Okay, it's a controller for the light. I'm not sure where they want us to put this. It looks like, I guess it goes right here. There's two little slots on the bottom.
Okay.
Nice. Okay, just like that. So controllers on the front. And then, so this ballast goes on here. Just trying to figure out how it hooks in. It's showing like a pinch. The driver. We need to look up how they.
Okay.
Yeah.
Want me to look up for that?
Yeah, for sure. Don't want to mess it up.
What's that thing called?
It's the LED driver.
Okay.
How to attach the LED driver to the G series spider farmer light.
Okay. It says the back of the SF1000 aluminum board has a pre-drilled holes specifically for the driver and the dimmer box. Align the mounting feet of the LED driver with the holes on the back top side of the light board.
That's for the SF1000.
Okay.
This is the SF150.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Yep.
Okay, hold on. Sure. The driver typically sits on the top side of the slim aluminum bar. It is secured using the two mounting brackets or screws that align with the center track of the light bar. The power link, do you want me to read that?
No, I got the power link. I think that's right here.
Okay.
So yeah, what I'm seeing is the tracks are just they're clearly supposed to be bent out a little bit. I think you're supposed to kind of set one in and work the other one in and have it drop in like that. Maybe that's.
Do you have AI on your phone?
I do.
With Gemini?
A Claude.
Okay, cool. Let me just take a picture of it.
Yeah, let's do that. Off to the test here.
The magic of problem solving.
Mm-hmm. It's got a mounting bracket. So let you slide it. Because
It looks like it would fit into those tracks.
it does, minus the bend, minus the turn here. You see, right? Yeah. It's a perfect fit. But okay, it might just be a push. Yep.
Okay.
Out of an abundance of caution, I
Yeah,
didn't want to try that at first.
I appreciate it.
But for everyone watching with the LED driver, put it in the track, press down, and it'll clip into it. That's nice. Okay. And you try to do it near the center, just so the light is more balanced.
Okay.
But that looks great. Cool.
Okay, problem solved.
Problem
You
solved.
just clicked right in.
Push right in, yeah.
Not all tents are necessarily as easy to set up, are they?
No, they can be more complicated for sure. Yeah, this one was super easy. It was, I'd say the dimensions were cut really well because we didn't have to force it. It just kind of like, as long as we had it unzipped,
Yeah.
took our time with it, it fit great, yeah. Just playing around here a little bit. All right. I'm gonna do one thing. I'm just gonna switch.
So you're gonna hold it.
Things like that. But so check this out. This is important actually. The controller is on the front,
Okay.
and so we just want that controller facing the door. And so I had originally put the ratchet straps crossways. I'm gonna flip them so that they're
Okay.
front to back, so we can do the light. With the ratchet straps, this is always the top of the part.
Okay.
Part of the top, sorry. Okay, nice. Front to back. All right, I'm gonna step in. Clip in the light. Clip in the front. And the ratchet straps you can just fold. Pull them up. Very easy.
Does the height of the light matter at this point, or not quite yet?
It does matter. It will matter when the plants are growing.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So right now, it's just keeping it out of our way.
Okay.
But absolutely, once the plant's growing, the height of the light and also the intensity of the light, because these lights are adjustable.
Okay.
And so you can put the light higher up if you need to, turn the intensity up, you can move it down, you can turn the intensity down.
Okay.
But we'll get there.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, and there's usually a little clip.
Okay.
Forgot to check for that, but Spider Farmer thought of it. Little clip, perfect. Here we go. Now we can see a little better.
Amazing.
Great, so the light, we still have the power cord. Let's see all the equipment they gave us first before we start making decisions on which ports to put the power cord on. So this is probably a carbon filter and a fan. You want to unpack that?
Yeah.
Sensors. Instructions, of course. Nice. Okay, this looks like your environmental controller.
Okay.
This was kind of the brains of the grow, certainly of the environment.
Cool.
Digital. Yeah.
Wow. Does that go inside the tent?
That will probably hang right here.
Okay.
Yeah, you want to be able to adjust the environment without opening the tent. It's tempting to look at your plants all the time. It's kind of like baking a cake. You want to be in there to be aware, but you don't want to just constantly be going in and out because you'll be changing the environment.
For sure. Do people sometimes put little cameras in their tents so
Yes.
they can watch it?
Absolutely. Yep.
Well, that might be happening.
You can watch it from anywhere.
Anywhere in the world?
Anywhere in the world, internet. You can watch the plant grow.
Wow, okay. So the carbon filter wasn't included, but Spider Farmer sent it to me because I told them I had neighbors.
Yes. Yeah.
And the carbon filter like really takes care of the smell.
Yeah, the smell can be strong. You know, one plant's obviously gonna be less strong than 10 plants.
Right.
But when you're growing indoors, you know, and with neighbors,
Take precautions.
take precautions to minimize the smell.
Okay,
And the best way to do that is with carbon filter.
amazing.
This is the inline fan,
Okay.
which will push or pull air
Oh,
through the ducting.
that's interesting.
Super lightweight, by the way. That's pretty nice. This is a 4-inch fan.
Okay.
Small size, but that's appropriate because of the tent size we have. Put that there. Let's see. I guess this is our carbon filter. From Spider Farmer. Looks like the sock
Okay.
goes on the outside of the carbon filter. It basically scrubs the odor out of the air.
That's amazing.
It's filtration. It's air filtration.
Wow.
Yep.
So I don't have to worry about that carbon on the inside of it or anything?
No, it's safe.
Okay.
Yeah, it's super standard practice for grows. I mean, these have been around for decades.
Okay.
In grows, it's basically the first line of defense when you're trying to control the smell. At some point, the carbon wears out,
Okay.
but you can actually replace the carbon.
Okay. Awesome.
All right, one more present, one more box here. What we got? Let's see. Power cord. Do you know what this is?
No idea.
Okay.
Do you know what it is?
No, not yet. I'm excited though. Oh, the clip fan.
Okay.
Got it. Super standard piece of equipment. You not only want to have airflow in and out of the tent, but you also want to have airflow inside the tent. You're trying to replicate nature. So, you know, in the natural world, there's a steady breeze in most places, so you want to have some air movement. Distribute CO2 around the tent as well. Okay. Pretty standard. Let's see.
Do you think I'm gonna have to worry about the humidifier or dehumidifier the second?
It depends
Okay.
on.
Like what the reading says?
It depends on what the reading says.
Okay.
Yep, and also, you know, we're in a more humid area,
Right.
and so depending on this space, what the humidity and temperature is in this space normally,
Yeah.
that'll impact how much we need the humidifier, the dehumidifier.
Do most people have one of those monitors inside their regular room and then they have their sensors inside their grow tent?
I don't think most people do, but it's a good thing to do.
Okay.
That,
I'll show you.
yeah, yep. That's kind of a more scientific way to approach.
Chase broke us over. Okay, so it has a happy face. This is literally why he's here, because my understanding of the numbers are there's a happy face. So, okay, it says 56%. Is that 56% humidity?
Humidity, you got it.
Okay, and then it says 75.4, that's the temperature.
That's temperature.
Okay, and then it's got 51% low, 86% high.
Those are the low and the highs since I reset the unit.
Yeah, okay.
But the big takeaway on that is it's a temperature humidity sensor.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and it's super affordable, and it's a good idea to understand the space outside of your tent. We call it the lung room, because it's the air that your tent breathes.
Makes sense.
And so you just want to be aware of what your lung room is. If you're in a cold, drafty garage, you're going to need to do things differently than if you're in like a hot attic.
So interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll link to this. And I imagine we also don't really want the room to undergo like massive temperature fluctuations if it doesn't have to.
The tent or the lung room? Yeah, that's true.
Okay,
Yeah, so if you can keep your home somewhat consistent, or your lung room somewhat consistent,
that's good.
it's a good thing.
Okay,
Yeah. Then you won't have to be, otherwise you're gonna have to be constantly adjusting with the tent. Yeah. This is great. So clip-on fan. It's got like a pretty super easy just clip.
okay. And that'll hold it?
You grab onto the tail, yep. And then you can see here that phone style jack
Yeah,
so that it can communicate with the controller.
that's wild.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Very cool. So I'm not too worried about, like, we're gonna move all this stuff.
Yeah.
But just to kind of see it in the space.
Right. Oh, okay, so it clips onto the actual frame of it.
Yep, you squeeze that clip,
Yeah.
and then you put it right
Okay.
onto one of your verticals. Just like that.
And one fan is enough.
For this tent, for sure. Yeah. The goal in a grow is to have kind of a racetrack of air, if
Okay.
you will,
That makes sense.
elevated above the plant canopy. And so, we'll do what we can in this tent to have that kind of swirling racetrack motion.
Do these parts go on the outside of the tent or the inside of the tent?
It's going to depend on how much space we have.
Okay.
So yeah, we're going to have to think through some of the placement.
Okay.
But I think with this, should clip on here somehow. Just not quite sure how. So we'll set this down for a minute.
Okay.
Okay, very important with grow tents is your ports. Your ports are where you can
Get to the outside.
get the outside world. And so this tent, it's great. It's got a lower port, it's got 3 big ones up top for ducting, and then it's got a power cord port in the back,
Okay.
a small one. And so more than likely we're gonna run the power cords out of that back small one for most of the equipment. So if you wanna hand me the power cord from the clip-on fan,
Yeah.
I'll just kind of push it through this hole and I'll grab it,
Oh, okay.
the little one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, let's get one second. I'm gonna take the tie off.
Okay. Tell me when you have slack on it.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Cool, so we're just gonna have to hang out just a little bit so we know it's there.
Okay.
And now, what we are looking for is some duct. We need 4-inch duct, and that's how we connect the carbon filter to the fan and then outside. Checking our boxes here. It'll be like a big, like on the back of the dryer duct, the pipe that comes off the dryer.
Yeah.
It's called flex duct.
Okay.
That's what we're looking for. I don't think it's included, which is okay. It's easy to get.
Okay.
Amazon or Lowe's.
Okay, do I need to get one?
We do need ducting.
Okay.
Yeah, but we can carry on.
Okay.
But that's how we connect all this stuff together.
Okay.
Like basically, it's like a port for the air.
Okay. Is that odd that it wasn't included?
No, honestly, most companies don't. They sell it separately.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So no big deal. And really, with ducting, one of those things where everyone needs different amounts because every room's different, and so you're better off just kind of going to a big box store or a local AC store to get like the amount you need.
Oh,
They usually come in 25-foot lengths.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then you cut it to the size.
I get right.
So, okay, this is more important stuff. Let's see. Did you get a power strip?
No.
Okay, no worries. No problem. We'll probably need a power strip,
Okay.
but I just wanted, today is really just about seeing what Spider Farmer sent us
Yeah.
and seeing the tent set up in space, and then we'll make our next steps after that. So this looks like your power cord to your light.
Okay.
So you should plug the power cord. There's a female plug coming off of the LED driver. So we'll plug the power cord in, and it'll go out through that same electrical port in the back.
I was looking at the power strips on Amazon.
Yeah.
There are heavy duty ones, and then there are like the regular ones for electronics. Does it matter which one?
Anytime you're dealing with indoor gardening,
Yeah.
you always want to go for stuff that's outdoor rated.
Okay.
And that's something I should have mentioned earlier when you asked about like fire safety and like,
Yeah.
obviously the equipment has IP ratings, IP67, which is like your iPhones are IP64 or something now. It's an indication of waterproofness.
Okay.
But anytime you're buying any kind of electrical equipment to add on to your grow equipment, outdoor rated.
Outdoor rated.
So
Okay.
you're looking, yeah. And so when you're looking, that's really your big thing on power strip.
Okay.
Is make sure it's like an indoor outdoor at a minimum.
Okay.
Which they cost more, but it's because they're tougher and they're made for going outside.
Well worth it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
At the end of this, we'll make a list of everything I need.
For sure.
Go.
Yeah. Yeah, we can do a whole parts list.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Yeah. And I'm glad you held off on the power strip because I really want to set this up in a way where all of your environmental equipment is being controlled by some type of brain, right? And so I believe that's going to be the Spider Farmer controller here. That's my first time with it, so I need to kind of get into it and see what it controls.
Perfect.
But yeah, so let's see what else. Let's go ahead and try to get the controller set up.
Okay.
I'm looking for a power cord. That's your sensor. These are all controller cords. There should be your fan. Is it in there? Is it? Not sure? I don't see it. Okay. I guess the first step really is how do we hang this? I'm sure this is, obviously this is where this is gotta go, but do you want to maybe?
Do you want me to look it up?
Yeah, unless I just figured it out. So I think what we're going to do here is unclip
Okay.
and then fish it through
Okay.
to make it like a cinch.
Okay. And then
A cinch knot.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yep.
Okay. Awesome.
And then same with this one. So we can just run it through. From the top here, easier. Yep. So go from the top. It's easier. And then push a little clip through the loop. Perfect. Take the protector off the screen. Love that.
So satisfying.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So here you can see we've got a power cord.
Okay.
And then DEV.
Yeah.
Device.
Okay.
Device 1. Device 2. Ethernet. And there's even a slot for a micro SD.
Oh.
Probably for data collection.
Wow.
Which is awesome.
That's crazy.
Props to Spider Farmer for that.
Do I need an Ethernet cable?
If you don't need one, no, but if we wanted to rely on this
Yeah.
for off-site monitoring,
Okay.
then you would run an Ethernet cable to your router,
Okay.
which is
Oh, well, that's not happening.
not happening.
Okay.
So we'll do something else.
Okay.
That's fine. We can use other tools, there's other sensors that will communicate wirelessly.
Okay.
So that you can monitor from off-site. But what's cool is that it's going to be stored on the SD card.
That's cool.
If we get that as well. So.
And why is that data good to have? Like, what did that tell us?
So
If we analyzed it?
What's really important about recording data from a grow is that's really the only way to improve on your next grow. It's kind of like if you're like baking a cake and you don't write down what ingredients you use. You can't say it's a great cake, you can't replicate it if you don't know what you put in it. If it's not a good cake, you don't know really what to change.
Okay.
And so indoor growing, it leans towards people who want to be aware of some data, look at it, and it's in pursuit of growing a better plant each and every time.
Amazing.
Yeah. So if you don't monitor and measure,
Yeah.
you can't improve. Which is, if you don't want to improve, that's okay too. You don't need to monitor. But
It makes more sense.
yeah, it makes more sense to pay attention to what's going on. All right, so this is like a splitter for control cords. And this is a light adapter. If you wanted to add a second light,
Okay.
you could control it here. So I think the big thing that we are looking for is that controller power cord.
Okay.
But this is the power cord for the fan,
Okay.
very clearly. So I'll go ahead and slide this through.
Okay.
So far we've already got 3 cords out of the back.
Yeah.
Obviously there's a lot of stuff, a lot of moving parts with indoor growing. Let's see. The fan. I'm just trying to think on how we want to set up your fan and your carbon filter. So here's something to remember. Hot air rises. And so the hottest air in your tent is always going to be at the top. And so that's where it's most efficient when you're trying to take air out of the tent.
Mm-hmm.
You want to pull from the top.
Okay. Interesting.
And then generally, your floor is going to have the coldest air.
Right.
And so you want to have your intake be close to the bottom because more often than not, in a situation when you're growing in a home, you're going to be trying to cool the tent.
Okay.
Your heat is your problem.
Okay.
And so having that flow, cold air in the bottom, hot air at the top, is just the most efficient way to do it. And so we should have some hangers for the fan.
And the fan's different than the little clip-on fan?
Yes, so that is an inline duct fan.
Oh, okay.
That's to move air
Okay.
in or out of the tent.
I see.
This
is for inside only.
Yep,
Just certificate.
that's a horizontal airflow fan.
Got it.
HAF for short, HAF,
Okay.
HAF fan. Yes, it's for circulation. Let's see, I guess look at that.
So easy.
Boom.
Amazing.
Yep. So we can go ahead and put this for now. So face power cord towards the back.
Okay.
There's some of this is aesthetic, you know what I mean? I know I'm pretty much a function over form person, but it's nice to make it look nice too. Tidy, you know?
Oh, wait, so it just clips onto the top?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. So that just goes on the top and hangs there.
That's easy.
Right? And then we've got the power cord hanging here. So we'll go ahead and run that. And I love that all the equipment has those phone port jacks, which is how we control it. So everything is controllable by one controller, which is nice. So just thinking, there's one port on the top. That would be a good spot to take the control cords out. You'll notice there's 2 sizes. So
Okay.
this is the smaller size, and then some of these should be. These are actually all the small. There is a bigger size. It's like a standard, and
Okay.
it just depends on your controller. That's the smaller size. Those are both smaller. So maybe the way Spider Farmer setup is with the smaller ones. There's like a code.
Okay.
Some letters and numbers are important, but that's what the smaller size is. So Let's unwind all these and see if they're the same length. Okay. By the way, when I said earlier it would take 30 minutes,
Yeah.
I was just referring to this.
Yeah. I figured, okay.
Just so you know what I'm talking about. The tent itself. Now, all the equipment, that is something you should take your time with. All these cords, they come folded up. It's always nice to kind of run your hands over them a little bit and just kind of give them a little tug on it, and it kind of helps take the kinks out of them. So let's see. I got 1, 2, okay, 3. They may all be the same size, but if they're different, it's nice to pick and choose which ones to use where. Okay. And then one more. Cool, we're gonna go with that. So I just did a little bit of a reshaping. I mean, they're metal inside, you know what I mean? So they can kind of be bendable a little bit. So I said some kind of like waterproof cover. So they look like they are the same length, more or less. One's got a fancy rubber gasket on it to block moisture. They're the same length, so we'll put those there. All right, we want to look one more time
For the power?
for the power cord.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's look at
Here. And we can actually, I'm gonna go and put this in.
Okay.
This is the floor. This is important. I mentioned it earlier, but basically, if you spill a little bit of water, the idea is that this will hold that water and not leak onto your floor.
Awesome.
And it's easy to take it out and clean it.
When we're so not at the stage yet, I'm skipping ahead like 1,000 steps.
Okay.
But we'll talk about the proper way to water plants when we get there.
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Right now, we just want to get the
Yeah.
tent set up. We want to see, so we can keep the temperature and humidity, airflow, all in a good range for the tent. Just one thing to note too, on this floor, there's little Velcro straps on each corner,
Okay.
and so you just strap those around the poles.
Oh, that's
to
clever.
hold it. Yep.
Okay, is there a chance that they could have forgotten the power cord?
There's a chance, yes.
Okay. Let me try to accidentally throw it over here.
Okay. And I just assumed, that they wouldn't give you every single gadget and gizmo because it can be overwhelming
Okay.
for new growers.
For sure.
But what I wanted to do was see what they did give you and then make a list. Because I'm trying to design this, to increase your chances of success. And so if we need some other things that I know how to set up, we can get those from them.
Okay,
And
perfect.
make the perfect environment.
I'm not sure if I said this, but the reason I also went with triangle seeds is because when you buy your seeds from Chase, he literally will hold your hand and help you every step of the way. He calls the people who order the seeds to ask if they need help. So I know you can buy seeds anywhere, the quality, but if you want a great product and you want someone who will answer the phone, he's a Southern gentleman.
Thank you.
Southern gentleman. So really, if you want to start but you're nervous because you don't know what you're doing, you're like me, exactly, then Triangle Seeds is the place to go.
Yeah, I've been growing for 20 years. I built my first hydroponic system 20 years ago.
Love it.
Yeah, and I used to work in for a little while in a retail hydroponics store, helping people grow in North Carolina. So.
And you have like a good bedside manner. Like you don't make me feel dumb.
Oh, that's great to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's it's a somewhat complicated, hobby. You can read online and get overwhelmed.
Easily.
And so what Matt and I try to do is just take our horticultural principles we've learned working in the greenhouse and make it easy to understand for people at home.
Incredible.
All right, so we got the 4 in there. We should have got 2 more hangers for the carbon filter.
Okay.
And these aren't adjustable, which is just fine because really, like I said earlier, with the carbon filter, which is going to be your exhaust, and the inline fan, you want those as high as possible.
Okay.
So there's no
reason to have it over.
Yeah, they're going to have them up all the way.
Okay. And is that hanging on that crossbar too?
Mm-hmm.
Everything's hanging on that one crossbar?
Yep. Well, one crossbar has the fan and the filter.
Okay.
The other crossbar
Yes,
has the light.
Okay, right.
And we'll have to attach the ducting once we pick that up. But this will just kind of give you an idea of what it's all going to look like. Let me think about this real quick. So the exhaust. Put that way. Wow. Okay.
Are those supposed to touch?
You don't need ducting
Oh,
for this part
okay.
because the way Spider Farmer's carbon filter is designed, it's sliding over the fan.
Okay.
So really all you need there is some tape, like some HVAC tape,
Okay.
to make sure it's a good seal so it's efficient.
For sure.
Um,
Oh, that's nice.
So yeah, so that's nice. And then here we may be able to get away without ducts because we can cinch the porthole around the fan. So we'll see.
Okay.
Just thinking here on, let's plug the fan in and see which way it's blowing.
Okay. Do you want me to?
What we can do is just, I'm gonna plug in one of these and we'll see if the light comes on or
Like you want?
light came on. Cool. Yay, we're finally plugging in stuff.
Wow, wow. Oh my god, that's so cool.
Yep.
Wow. You're so good at this.
So, and you can hear the fan on. But this has an onboard adjustment. And you can
And that's the intensity of the light.
the intensity of the light, yep. So just that's 100%.
What percentage of growers keep their lights on 100%?
Hard to know for sure.
Okay.
I would, for growers that know what they're doing, very few. Yeah, because basically,
Does it leave no room for error?
yeah, it's like there's an approach here where you can say, hey, I want to grow the biggest plant the fastest, and I would, classically you probably have an aeroponic system, which is the fastest of all the hydroponic systems. You have the biggest light, you crank it up all the way, but it's essentially like driving a Ferrari,
Right.
where like one little steering correction and you can wreck the car. The smarter approach for new growers absolutely is, a nice solid Camry, Camry, very dependable. There's more room for error.
Totally.
Yeah, so you really shouldn't, as a new grower, you really shouldn't be running your light on 100%. It's not that simple. And as we get into like environment, we'll see why you don't just keep it pretty all the way.
Okay.
So I mean that's 50%. So it's a great light. The controller is super smooth. It's awesome. All right, so this fan. Never put your hand in the fan.
Okay.
Disclaimer: don't put your hand.
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
fan. All right, cool. So it's blowing. It's going to the right. So I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to flip it around.
Okay.
Let's see. I don't know how obvious we get it, like no hands in the fan, but.
No, it was gonna work. Not even just for the stoners, but just for the humans.
Yep. Okay, cool. So I just kind of slid that carbon filter on there, and like I said, we still want to take that.
Okay.
But then here, so every port, it's got like an outside collar, we call it a collar,
Okay.
and an inside collar,
Okay.
and then there's a pull tie or a cinch And so we'll cinch that around. Now I'm going to say we're still going to want to get some ducting, just because the ducting has structure to it. It's got wire in it, and so if there's some kind of like vacuum or pressure differential, the duct will stay open and let air go in and out. But for just testing purposes, we can plug this thing back in. It should kick on. Kind of just spool up a little bit.
And this is as loud as it gets?
That would be as loud as this fan gets. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Pretty quiet.
Really quiet.
I'd say really quiet. Yeah. I've old school fans. They used to be a lot louder.
Okay.
I'll say that much. That's crazy quiet. Yeah. Awesome. And that looks like it's also controllable as well. It's got the phone jack, so I'm sure on here there'll be some adjustability.
Okay.
The fan. Also, the light's working. We could check the clip on, but I mean, I'm sure that'll be just fine. Do you have an extension cord? No.
But we can make a list.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna have to make a list. That's pretty standard. Multiple Lowe's trips in one day, unfortunately, can happen with this hobby. Cool. Okay, let's take a. You want to take a pause?
Okay.
And we can just see. Let's break down the boxes.
Okay.
Make sure we have everything.
Absolutely.
You know? Cool.
So we're done for today.
Yes, we made some good progress. We obviously set the tent up. We've hung our light. We've got our carbon filter, our inline duct fan to pull air through the carbon filter. We've got the controller hanging up here. We're just going to need to wait on a power cord to get that turned on. At this point, that's kind of the next step. And then once we get that controller on, we'll start to take a look at the readings from the sensor, the temperature, humidity, and light sensor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited.
Cool, me too.